Hello, my name is Brian Madden, and I'm joined by two folks here from Dell, Juan Vega, and from Intel, Rich Knuckles. And today we're going to talk about how to build a successful desktop virtualization pilot. You know, a lot of desktop virtualization projects actually fail when they don't need to. You know, desktop virtualization typically involves a fairly radical new way of doing things. So it's important to get it right, since the desktops are the things that your users use all day, every day. To me, I think we should actually look at the differences between a proof of concept, a trial, and a pilot. Because unfortunately, I think that a lot of us are guilty of using these terms interchangeably when really they're not the same thing at all. I mean, the ultimate goal at the end of the day with your pilot is to define success in a way that's actually relevant for you. You know, that way, when you are done, hopefully successful, you actually have a pretty good chance that your pilot success can be replicated with your overall project. So when you start designing your environment, you begin with the proof of concept. That's your initial lab testing. It's where you download the products, you play with them, you install them and understand how they work, and basically get a general idea of learning what's possible. From there, you can extend to a trial, and this is where you start to think about your own environment in the lab. At this point, you're going to do a little bit of engineering. You're going to work with your applications on your network and just kind of make sure the whole thing works. Maybe try a few different options, try a few different products. And only then do you move on to the pilot. To be successful here, it's really critical to think of this as a phase one implementation rather than a mere pilot. And there's actually a tremendous amount of work that needs to be done there.
That's right, Brian. We've had a lot of customers coming to us asking for help to pilot desktop virtualization. We ask them, what are you testing for? What's your criteria for success? Because it's not just about whether or not this technology works, but does it work for you? In a successful pilot, you have to test production applications, you have to choose a user sample outside of IT, and then you have to test it in a real-world environment. But more importantly for this technology, you actually have to search for cultural acceptance. Right? In some cases, you're actually asking users to make a huge change. What are you giving them in return? In other words, when you go from a traditional desktop delivery to virtual trial, you have to put the diligence in up front to create a winning scenario and get happy users. This pilot is actually a tremendous amount of work, because basically a pilot user needs all of the same capabilities in their virtual desktop that a permanent user needs. This desktop is their number one productivity tool. So like Brian said, a pilot is really phase one production, and all the work that you need to stand up a desktop goes into that pilot. Based on conversations I've had with customers, probably the number one reason that they fail to have a successful VDI pilot is not putting enough focus on the user experience and giving those users the right resources and the right diligence behind supporting those desktops. And once they get a bad taste, that technology is over for them. Now, what's our role in this? Well, Dell's done a tremendous amount of testing and optimization to take the guesswork out of sizing the infrastructure. The net of it is we give you a predictable result based on your user profiles, and this gives you clear direction and helps mitigate risk. One thing is for sure, once you've decided that you're going to embrace desktop virtualization in some part of your environment, do it once, do it right, and choose a partner that can support you as you deploy it.
Now, you use the words VDI and desktop virtualization. I use the words VDI and desktop virtualization, but I guess it's important to remember that desktop virtualization is more than VDI. There's client virtual machines, there's streaming, there's application virtualization, there's hypervisors, there's all this kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And I know this is something that Intel talks about quite a bit.
Right, and so we've been asked numerous times, like, hey, what's Intel's play in this? What's their position? And really, our position on this is you really want the most flexibility as possible. You want to go with an intelligent client because it really gives you the flexibility for all the solutions available today and for the solutions coming out in the future, right? So don't paint yourself in a corner. Really give yourself the best chance for success, and really an intelligent client does that for you.
That's exactly right. As we evaluate lots of environments, we're definitely seeing that more horsepower in the client is helpful in terms of just generating enough flexibility to ensure success.
Well, now you talk about horsepower and the client. I know Intel talks about vPro a lot, but does vPro matter so much? Because if it's just VDI within clients, doesn't Intel sell lots of chips to the servers? Why do I care about vPro on my client?
Right. So, we get asked, that's another question we get asked a lot. Yes, we do sell a lot from a Xeon perspective at the server, but with vPro, it actually brings the technology for such solutions as client hypervisors, right? It provides the hardware hooks for you to get the graphics performance that your users are expecting, has the security and trusted platforms that your IT is expecting as well. So vPro ties into these hypervisor solutions such as Zen Client to give you that hardware trust and user experience that you really expect from that type of solution.
Right. Keep in mind, right, the goal here is to pilot successfully, right, to drive to production. And you've already got an existing infrastructure of clients, and you're adding this virtualization capability to it. So having the flexibility to put the right technologies in place is really one way to help ensure success.
And I guess that is really the key we can leave this with, is that when you're looking to ensure success, it's important not just to pick the right technology, but also to pick the right model of doing the piloting, the testing, the proof of concept, so that as you go through that phase, you can actually be successful. And I guess that's what you guys are hoping that people choose also.
Exactly.
All right, well, Rich, Juan, I thank you both for the time. Thank you for having this conversation today, and thank you for watching. I want to wish you good luck for your virtual desktop projects.